There can be few Edinburghers who are unaware of the old college. Its elegant, simple Georgian lines have adorned the Edinburgh skyline since construction of the building began in 1789. Its splendid dome draws the eyes upwards to an often wind and rain-swept skyline where, at the dome's apogee, a torch-bearing gilded youth stands as a symbol of that intellectual enlightenment which is the university's purpose. The reconstruction of a substantial part of a building with such architectural, cultural, and educational significance was inevitably going to be an enterprise requiring great sensitivity, sympathy, and vision. In the refurbished law school, I believe those required qualities have coalesced to give us a magnificent building for the university and citizens of Edinburgh. At the heart of the refurbishment project, whose completion we celebrate today, lay the fundamental question, what is a law school for? The answer to that question may seem self-evident for educating law students, of course, but let me offer a somewhat more abstract answer. To enable transformative encounters. Encounters between students and educators, which foster a love of the law and a passion for justice. Encounters between legal scholars and those of other disciplines, allowing lawyers to understand the role of the law in wider society. And encounters between the university community and our many visitors and neighbours, to the end that justice is within the reach of all. Our new building magnificently nurtures and enables such transformative encounters. Horizontal and vertical crossing points connect the users of the building, leading them easily from one space to the next. Teaching spaces are open and on view, bringing the many activities taking place within the building to the fore. And social spaces rub shoulders with spaces of intensive learning and study. The building is a friend with whom one happily wants to spend time, rather than, as it once was, a rather tired and grumpy landlord. In our new law school, we have the ideal environment in which to form the lawyers of the 21st century, and in which to undertake the world-leading research for which the Edinburgh Law School is known. We have modern, technologically enhanced teaching spaces. We have a cafe and social study spaces in which staff, students, and visitors can meet and share both great ideas and great coffee. And we have one of the most inspiring law libraries on offer anywhere. In short, we have a building which, for the first time in a very long time, is one of which we can be genuinely proud. For the pleasure of being the happy occupants of such an inspiring space, the law school has many people to thank. The university for believing in our vision and in providing the majority of the funding for the refurbishment project. Our generous individual donors who sponsored specific parts of the project, including the members of the 1789 Club, Ewan Cameron and family, and Utsava Kusira, the principal donor of the Usha Kusira Lecture Theatre. I must also thank my predecessors as heads of school, Professor Leslie Makara, who lobbied the university to commit to the project, and Professor Richard Sparks, who oversaw the school's temporary removal of the David Hume Tower. Our architects, LDN, whose vision for the building was so fundamental to the finished project. The main contractor, Graham's, whose staff worked tirelessly on delivering that architectural vision, not least of all by carrying in by hand the more than 200 tons of steel which are comprised in the new main staircase. Gary Jebb and Helen Sang of the University and College Estates offices for guiding us through the various stages of the work. Catherine Martin, the chair of the project board, and Sheriff Principal Ted Bowen, who willingly gave up his time to join it. Lisa Kendall, Julia Dawson and Louisa Grotrian, successive directors of professional services in the law school, whose Herculean task it has been to oversee all of the practicalities of keeping the school open at all times, including overseeing our various moves and our settling back into the new building. Hayden Sparks and Alex Newth, successive resources managers, who probably wish never again to have to look at any more boxes, signs, or room allocation plans in their lives. And all of our staff and students, for their patience and forbearance during the entire construction process. We could not have begun or completed the project without the help of all these people, as well as others whom, alas, I don't have time to thank personally at this juncture. It is my hope that you will all be inspired by our new law school. Its refurbishment has given us a building of whose interior we can be as justly proud as its exterior. I very much hope that your encounters here with the law and with each other will be transformative and will inspire you to contribute in some way to advancing the rule of law and to seeing that justice is done in this city and in this land. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I'm delighted and honoured to be asked to say a few words to celebrate the reopening of Edinburgh's Law School today. What is my association with the law school? It is almost exactly 32 years to the week that I first entered Old College, as the law school was then called. This was a week or so after I got married in the US and emigrated to the United Kingdom. So it was a busy week. My life in Scotland and in law began at Edinburgh's Law School. My fellow students became my first friends in my adopted country. As a young, newly married, foreign-born student, I found the law school to be welcoming and a lively place. It was and is a place where learning is valued and the teaching staff superb. I was entranced by law taught as a serious academic subject. The law school became my intellectual home, and I am proud to be one of its graduates. I retain a huge affection for the place and the people who inhabit it. And I delight in the fact that I see its spire, mentioned by Martin, daily from my chambers behind the commercial court in the Court of Session. Well, let me turn to the building and its purpose. We're here to celebrate the reopening of the law school, and Professor Hogg has described how the reconfigured layout of the law school aims to foster transformative encounters. It is a lovely phrase and a worthy ambition. Once you've had a chance to visit it, I am sure you will agree it is a stunning building, transformed for the 21st century while respecting the building's historic and architectural qualities. It is an imaginative and innovative space. I wish to say a little more, if I may, about the purpose of a law school, as Professor Hogg mentioned, which is to educate law students. While this is an occasion to celebrate this building, it is brought to life by those who teach and research and study within its walls. So let me turn to the students of the law school, and I wish to pay particular tribute to the students. You have worked hard to gain admission to one of the great law schools. You are on the threshold of your university studies. Much will be demanded of you. On this occasion, I wish to welcome you and thank you. You represent a new generation of lawyers, and the future is in your hands. Not just your own individual futures, but the future of our law and legal system, and the future of the national legal systems to which our many international students may return. Now, not all of the students will go on to practice law, or will do so in this jurisdiction. May I offer this unconventional suggestion? Even if that is so, your time at the law school is well spent. Of course, one of the purposes of the law school is to produce lawyers, but I suggest that the purpose and ambition of a great law school is to engender critical thinking and to instill an inquiring habit of mind. Whether or not you join the legal profession, I hope you come away from the law school with these qualities. And consider a moment, what is it that a law school teaches? At its very core, a legal system is not just a set of legal rules. What a great law school will also teach you are the values which animate our legal system. The most important of these values, perhaps illustrated by the events of this week, is the commitment to the rule of law. Now, the rule of law is a phrase that can be trotted out easily, but the values which it embodies matter. Under the rule of law, every person is subject to the law of the land. and the courts apply the law of the land equally to all parties without fear or favour in terms of the judicial oath. So the rule of law is one of the foundations of a good society in which we would all aspire to live. These values will endure so long as we promote and practice them. Societies which respect the rule of law are typically societies in which citizens live better lives. They are societies which are more free, more just, and more economically successful. And so as the students learn the detailed rules of particular legal subjects, I wish they do not lose sight of this fundamental part of their studies at the law school. So let me last say something about the community of the law school. In undertaking the students' studies at the Edinburgh Law School, they are joining a community of able scholars and teachers. And if these students let them, these teachers will inspire you. The students are joining a great intellectual and professional legal tradition extending back nearly 2,000 years. And I firmly hope that at the law school students will learn, as I did, that law is a living tradition. Through the cases and writings of those who precede you, you can engage in a dialogue across centuries and across national boundaries. So these students are becoming citizens of a global legal world, and that, in my view, is an exciting prospect. So what I enjoin these students to do is what Professor Hogg suggests, and use this building to engage in these transformative encounters, whether this is with the fellow students and the teaching staff of the present day, or in conversation with the living legal tradition. And in the reconfigured spaces of this magnificent building, I embrace the students to embrace the whole community within its walls. I urge them to learn, think, debate, challenge, and of course, to enjoy. So whatever the students' hopes and ambitions, personal and professional, and whatever the future may bring, I hope the students come to appreciate and play a part in a great intellectual and professional legal tradition. And there is no finer space within which to do this than the new Edinburgh Law School. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to start by thanking everyone for coming here today to celebrate the reopening of Edinburgh Law School here at Old College. I would also like to thank both Martin Hogg and Lindsay Jack for inviting me to be here today to celebrate with you all. It is such a privilege to be here at the reopening of Old College, and it seems rather strange for me to be talking about a building which has over 300 years of history when I have only had the pleasure of being here for a mere few months. However, for many students here, the first semester back at Old College earlier this year has already inspired and motivated us all as we move on to the next stage of our studies and careers this year. Not only has the refurbishment of Old College given students a greater sense of pride and motivation, we are now fortunate enough to have first-class resources and facilities that allow us to get stuck into both our studies and the range of activities available here at the law school, whether that be attending the seminars and visiting academics, mooting in our new specially designed courtroom, or completing yet another list of readings, except we are now completing our readings in the grandeur of the Senate room in the law library, which keeps you going for that never-ending last chapter you have left to finish. But also special events such as this one today. I can't speak for every student, as I'm sure everyone has their own thoughts and memories here at Old College, but for me to be attending class in Old College is that little bit extra special, as I remember when I was younger walking past the gates of the archway and spotting the Christmas tree up ahead and wondering what this building was, with no knowledge of the fact that I would one day be attending here as a student, let alone speaking at the reopening of the very same building. It's these little things that make Old College special to each student for different reasons. Every December, for at least a few seconds, the pressure of fast-approaching exams are distracted by the lights of the Christmas tree. After a year and a half of attending classes at various buildings around the city, there's a great sense of belonging when you arrive here at Old College. Being a student at such a large university, you can often feel like a small part of the very big picture. But with the reopening of Old College, students have gotten to know each other better and have gotten to know the law school and their faculty better. To have such an historic and beautiful building as our hub for the next few years is something I do not take for granted. To be in Old College has made our time that bit more personal and memorable as we progress throughout our years here and leave our mark in our time here at Edinburgh Law School. After a great first semester here at Old College, I look forward to what the next few years has in store for me and everyone else. I will leave it there on my excitement for the years ahead at Old College, as I am sure you will all have your own memories and thoughts that you wish to share. I'd like to thank you all for coming here again today to support the law school and celebrate the refurbishment. It's a privilege to be meeting students past and present and learning about their times here at Old College. To hear about the experiences of former students from a range of backgrounds and professions makes the return to college that bit more special for us who are still here today. And also I'd like to say thank you again to Martin Hogg and Lindsay Jack for inviting me to be here today.
So, you don't need me to tell you that Old College has always been a great symbol for the University of Edinburgh. It's a remarkable building, rich with history, and marks the Edinburgh skyline. But for me and many of my fellow students, Old College is an embodiment of the community that exists within the university, and more specifically, the law school. Having enrolled in 2015, I came at a time of change. The refurbishments had just started, and this meant that many of my classes were dispersed around Edinburgh. Not having one building meant a few things. I got to see more of Edinburgh, and I got to get a lot of exercise from running from class to class, but it also diminished the sense of community. We did not have a home within the university, a place that we could proudly call our own, and this meant less interactions between students and faculty members out with the brief time in class. This need to belong to a community is something that the refurbished Old College has answered wonderfully. The refurbishment has introduced many state-of-the-art facilities. We now have a fantastic new library, new staff offices, new lecture theatres, new teaching and study places, and a cafe. All these facilities enrich the school, but one of my favourites is the cafe. Now, the cafe fulfills two important functions within the law school. It provides us with coffee, which is essential to anyone who's ever studied law, but it also provides both students and faculty a place to sit, relax, and socialise. It allows us to be a community. Having a break every day in the cafe allows me to notice familiar faces and catch up with friends, peers, and faculty members. It gives me a chance to breathe and appreciate where I am. Furthermore, the very architecture of the refurbished Old College promotes openness, communication, and community. It is something that you'll see when you go on your tour. There are many areas for students and faculty alike to sit and talk with their peers. The mezzanine creates extra space, and the study rooms and offices are made of glass, which creates an open atmosphere. All these little additions make the building so much warmer and creates a real collegiate environment. Finally, the feeling of community is also enhanced by the Old College Library. All years will find themselves in the library, from first year students to fourth years, postgrads and PhD students. And a first year can find comfort in seeing the fourth year across from them, and they know that they too once had the same deadlines and the same assessments, and that fourth year managed to make it to the end. The fourth year can look at the first year and remember how they once too thought that assessment was impossible, but they conquered the impossible. More importantly, everyone in the library is working towards the same goal, and we can motivate each other. We're all working hard. With all these additions, Old College has fully embraced its role as a hub of the law school, and I count myself extremely lucky to be part of this community. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Thanks very much, Martin. It's a little bit lonely up here with all the people back there. It's like giving a lecture and no one ever sits in the front row. But so yes, my name is Peter Mathieson. I've been the principal for a year and a half, and I've never seen Old College without scaffolding. When I arrived, it was all on that side of the quad, and I'm delighted that it's gone from there and that the law school is now open, but the scaffolding's moved over to this side. So just a few words of thanks from me as well. So thank you very much to today's speakers, to Martin, Lady Wolffe, Christopher and Anais. Thank you very much for giving different perspectives on what the new law school and indeed the old law school means to some of you. My congratulations to everybody that's contributed to the delivery of the new law school project. It is indeed magnificent. I can take no credit at all for the university's decision to fund it because it was all decided before my time, but I'm certainly happy to bask in the reflected glory of having a lovely new law school. And thank you to all the donors, some of whom are here, who contributed to the refurbishment. I have a medical background, so being in the presence of hundreds of lawyers just makes me nervous. But anyway, thank you all very much for coming this afternoon. Thank you for whoever arranged the weather. It's been beautiful. My job is to announce two things. There will be tours of the new law school, leaving about every 5 minutes from the steps over on the other side over there. People are waving the organisers. About 10 or 12 people on each tour, so please don't all try and be on the first tour. But if you could go in groups of 10 or 12, every 5 minutes a new tour will set off. And at the other end of the quad up there is the Talbot Rice Museum and Gallery, where there's a display by a Hong Kong artist called Samson Young, and the Talbot Rice is open for a Prosecco reception and a walk around the display if you wish to spend a bit more time in Old College once you've seen the law school. So please take advantage of both of those opportunities. Thank you all very much for coming. Congratulations to everybody for the delivery of the new law school, and I hope that the law school and all the students and staff that work in it are very happy and it leads to very successful futures for all of them. So thank you very much for coming and helping us to celebrate the new law school. Thanks.